Thanks for tuning in for another edition of the Vires and Numeris podcast presented by Bryer.io, a Bryer.io production. Quick shout out here. I start every episode like this to our sponsors, as you can see them scrolling across as I read them off here. Special thanks to Thunder Games. Thunder Games creates games that integrate Bitcoin and process payments via the Lightning Network. They're actually I'm having the creator on the podcast for next. He's coming on Sunday, so it'll be out next week. They have numerous different games and run their own node. If you wish to connect, their public key is available over at thdr.games/about. Along with their Telegram and social media, Thunder Games are making mobile games which enable players to win Bitcoin for free using the Lightning Network to win prizes. Check them out, thdr.games today. The Bob Shop, the most diverse blockchain and crypto clothing store on the web. I love these guys, and I had to have a little chuckle. I ordered I ordered a shirt from them the other day. Already here, cryptocurrency, the Bitcoin logo, a play on the California deal. I think so. I really like what they have over there. Check them out. They have all sorts of stuff, very diverse, lots of different projects. Check them out, bobcrypto.com. That's BOBCRYPTO.co. Vinxcoin. Vinxcoin is the world's first decentralized fine French wine and vineyard-backed security token offering STO, where anyone can be a fine French wine and vineyard owner from the comfort of their own home. Vinx removes the high-cost barrier to entry to French wine and vineyard ownership markets. Check them out at vinxcoin.com. Trios. What is Trios? Trios is an economy and an ecosystem. Trios is a direct reference to decentralized money that will power a new economy. In the future, the term Trios will become synonymous with cryptocurrency and virtual financial assets, VFAs, their payment methods, their ecosystem, and their general use as both a utility and a store of value. Check them out at trios.io. Charon Coins. You found the brick-and-mortar financial institution where you can safely trade dollars for Bitcoin, USD to BTC over the counter and person to person. They facilitate transactions of all sizes, including high volume transactions. Their headquarters is located in Milwaukee, serving the MKE areas of Lakefront, Eastside, River West, and Waukesha County. More than just being an OTC location, they're here to educate you about Bitcoin, wallets, blockchain, crypto, security, and platforms. If you're in the Milwaukee area, you can also check out their Bitcoin ATM with more to come soon. Visit Charon Coins, that's CharonCoins.com. Bitcoin Store of Value. Bitcoin SOV is an emerging community-driven project that is a decentralized team the world over. It is a proof of work mineable ERC20 and has a deflationary design with token burns to ensure your value is stored over time. Check out their site at bsov.io. Lucio Paletti, a digital artist that did the Andy Warhol on my wall to buy Bitcoin play there. He's a self-described propagandist known for his iconic Bitcoin artworks. Lucio's number one goal is to spread the message that Bitcoin is better money. Check out Lucio Paletti. That's LuchoPoletti.com. And Flashcoin, lastly, is a reinvention of Litecoin built to scale for worldwide commerce and fast enough to handle everyday transactions. The flexible and easy to integrate core code allows exchanges and wallets to add Flash to their platform within hours. With a settlement time of 5 seconds and consensus within 2 minutes, anyone, anywhere can use Flash Mobile Wallet as easy as cash or credit card. Visit Flashcoin, that's FLASHCOIN.io. And remember, nothing written or spoken on Bryer.io is financial advice. Always DYOR, do your own research. You are the captain of your financial ship. You are in control of your financial sovereignty. And please enjoy this episode. Back again, episode 19 of the Vires and Numeris podcast, production of Bryer.io. Today I'm with a super successful entrepreneur. He sold his medical supplies company, FastMed, for a $500 million exit. The president and CEO of PRTI, an oil and energy company, and co-founded Morgan Creek Digital, one of the biggest investment funds in the crypto space. I'm sure everybody knows about Morgan Creek. Mr. Jason A. Williams, thanks for coming back on the show today, sir.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Good to be here.
Yeah, you and I talked about 8 months ago, and I really enjoyed that, and I wanted to catch up with you and see how you've been. So what have you been up to?
Well, every day is COVID day, so that's really been the premium focus. Before we got on today, I was just talking about how it's been such a difficult time for a lot of founders, whether you're in some type of I kind of equate it to like a parabolic move or this kind of wave formation. So you're building a business. You could be at the beginning, the startup of that, the growth phase of it. You could be at the maturation of your business, or you could be in the decline. Each one of those moments along that curve takes a different type of energy and focus, capital allocation and funding. And then COVID hits, we shut down the economy, and everyone's trapped on that curve. So it's a really challenging time for someone like me who really focuses on operations, when to hire, when to fire, when to grow, when to kind of hit the brakes. So I'm all over the place with our portfolio companies, our personal investments, our own projects, trying to just survive right now.
Yeah, I know you're in. I just touched on a couple of the things you're into, like the things that I know about the big things. What does that look like? I mean, have you had to let a lot of people go, or what's that? What could you give a little more about that sort of thing on the business side of that?
Yeah, I mean, Jim Cramer said it best recently. He is a wealthy guy, and I think he owns a restaurant or a bar. And he had furloughed or continued to pay his staff as long as he could. And I think yesterday he either stopped or is really starting to get to the point to say, I can't go on forever. I'm not like the CEO of infinite money. I can't pay people forever. There's no plan. So for a guy like me, we were in the same boat. We tried to furlough. We tried to hold the line. But our real hard decision started March 18th. We own a family restaurant that's been in business for 15 years, Piero's Italian Bistro in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We had to let go like 40 people. It was heartbreaking. These are folks that make between $2 and $15 an hour. They work on tips. They're great people. You look at, we have 100 or so million people employed in the United States. 58 million of those are in small businesses that are classified in less than 500 employees. 15% of that work in the restaurant industry. We sent those folks home without a plan. We gave them $1,200, maybe if they can get it. $1,200 doesn't do anything. It's infuriating to me to see people left in this situation now, a month and a half, going on 2 months, $1,200. While we prop up big business, capitalism, send in, PPP to 150 publicly traded companies. I mean, it's crazy, man.
Yeah, a lot of people make their living on, that sort of like leisure spending or whatever you want to call it, the extra money in your pocket, like going out to a restaurant like you're talking about, or going to hit some golf balls at the driving range or bowling or whatever it is. So we're really, I sort of said this from the beginning. I got some pushback from people. I wasn't super vocal about it, but I sort of have been taking the same stance all the way through this, that I think the actual virus isn't what we should be worrying about as much as, small businesses and just the economy as a whole. I really believe that this is something that, this could sink our ship as a country. And really the world economy is going to take, the hit it's taking is crazy. So where do you think, what's our way out of this? Is there a political answer, or is it just Bitcoin?
Look, we 10x'd unemployment. Before we went into this phase, we were at historically low unemployment, like 3% and change, right? We're at 30% unemployment right now. When we come out of this and turn the economy back on, some of those businesses have exited stage left. They're gone and they won't come back. So we're not going to go back to 3% unemployment. So we're going to be some number above 3%, but below 30%. The world is going to look different. How do we get this thing fixed? We need probably 3 things related to COVID. We got to get back to work. We need a vaccine option. I'm not saying you have a mandatory vaccination program, but a vaccine option. And we need a treatment plan, right? So if we have that, then you can go to the next level. protect those elderly or those with comorbidities so that they can continue to shelter in place. We continue to protect those most vulnerable, but we turn the economy back on and allow people the chance to try to survive this, because our economy is fueled by spending, retail spending. It's not government projects. That is not going to fix this.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize that before this even, I think it was like 79 million or under it, less than 80 million people made their money in the market. The other were relying on the state. So just imagine what that figure looks like now. I'm scared to even know. It's probably another, like you said, 20 or 30 million at least. I'm just worried about the future. So what do you think happened when the stock market crashed, and the virus and all this stuff? We've seen so much in the last 50 days, or whatever it is around that. What do you think happened in the Bitcoin market when we dropped that 50% in that one day?
Yeah. So, sorry, I do this keto diet, right? And now I'm having my lunch, which is water, pure lemon juice, pure lime juice, and cayenne pepper with some maple syrup. So I apologize.
That's why you're staying so young, right?
That's right. Yeah, whatever.
There you go.
But what happened? Everybody tried to sell anything they could and get cash. They wanted US dollars. So liquidity. And the only thing that could have changed the trajectory of Bitcoin during that moment is if it was highly transactable. So if it was really connected to the market and really behaved like a super liquid asset, we wouldn't have seen the sell-off. But people sold Bitcoin as well.
Right. People that needed a little bit of extra cash
They just went to cash. I think it was just like the speculators went to cash. They may not have needed it. They just went to cash. Hedge funds got liquidated. Positions got liquidated, but everyone went to cash. You sold what you could.
So what do you think about you mentioned the stimulus. So are you in favor of the stimulus then, or what's your take? I mean, since the government shut the economy down and that was out of the government, that was their doing. Is that you think that they needed to give the people a stimulus?
Yeah, but I don't think it was done right. My impression would be to give the money to the people directly. The people needed the money, and you may have had to have a tranche of money that went to a program to stand up those businesses that were affected by the shutdown. Yes, put some money that way. But we should have given people a wage through this, because we took their livelihoods away. The government did.
Right.
The government did.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. What do you think about, is this the final? I mean, I really believe that this could take down the dollar. What do you think about fiat currencies and I mean, we're not the only the Federal Reserve isn't the only central bank printing right now. It seems to be going on or all over the world. What do you think about central banks printing and like the Fed trying to export their debt? What's going to happen there?
I actually feel that the U.S. dollar is stronger than ever right now. So I think with the things that are going on and the hot spots around the world, everyone's just trying to get into US dollars. So it's I think stronger than ever right now, and really putting a lot of pressure on other currencies. So I'm not worried about the US dollar being wrecked. I think you have deflation going on in certain aspects of the world's economy, and the US dollar is strong.
Okay.
It's king dollar right now.
Yeah, the dollar did surge in this, so it is interesting how this is all working out. It doesn't make sense, but it is. Yeah, I mean, comparative to a lot of other currencies, it is the king. So
I looked at this potential inflation situation through a master class by Paul Krugman, and he very eloquently and much more eloquently than I'm going to be able to do this. He talked about how Ben Bernanke back in 2008, when we had the housing crisis, he turned on the money printer and quintupled the money supply. You would expect there to be inflation coming out of that. But if you go to 2018 and look back a decade, you'll see that there really wasn't inflation over that 10-year period. And it's because even though the money supply quintupled, that money stayed on the bank's ledger sheets, didn't come into circulation. So that had an interesting effect on our economy. This is different this time. The money is being pushed into circulation. So you're going to see a different phenomenons, whether it's inflation, deflation, et cetera. I'll leave that for the economists to kind of battle. But you better have your game right coming out of this, because times are going to be different. It's going to be very different.
I totally agree with what you just said. The one of the problems with the stimulus is the people are going to use it for food and things, necessities, and they're not. That money isn't like all that money they're printing or creating isn't going to go into producing another another good per se, or starting a business. So that's sort of like just wasted money. If you I don't know if you agree with me on that or not.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't do it right, they're not going to buy a new flat screen TV. I think that's what you're saying. Like right now, we have to pay bills, health insurance, electricity, water, food, rent, and
Exactly.
we don't even have enough money for that. So you're seeing defaults. And those who are really trying to manage this have gone to the banks, and they've been able to get these waivers of mortgages for 3 and 6 months, 3 months, 90 days. And the banks may extend those. Your credit cards are doing the same things. They're trying to be good humans and not make everyone bankrupt. But coming out of this, you're going to have to pay your bills at some point.
Exactly.
Where are the jobs? Where's the money?
It's going to be scary. I really don't think that people realize what's going to happen. A lot of people they don't care about economics. Maybe in lieu of no sports right now, we can get some people to look at economics a little bit more. What would you say that the average small business owner or somebody that is trying to start a business could do right now? Where's a little advantage if there is one?
Yeah, so it's a great question. I think there are industries right now that you could jump into or get started on that would be really great. And I would focus first on how supply chain breakdowns had impacted our country and other countries. I think the outsourcing of critical goods and services is probably gone. Or it won't be to the level it was. So if you wanted to start a business that created personal protective equipment, ventilators, you keep hearing all this ventilator, anything around like healthcare tech, cleaning, sanitation, light treatments, which I'm intrigued about. I think there's a lot of really cool things you can do there. Also, connecting populations that are at risk, that need goods or services, that aren't going to come into your stores anymore. They're not going to want to ride the subway. They're not going to want to come into your restaurant. They're not going to want to go to your concert. They're not going to want to go to your convention hall. But they still need the information. They need food. They need resources. How do you connect those people to all that stuff? Super cool opportunities, right?
Absolutely.
It's all about like user interface, user experience, making these tech things super easy to use for, people who are dumb like me.
Yeah, right. The capitalist is the great benefactor to us all. So, it's become a little bit, popular these days to bash the capitalist and universities and stuff. But people don't realize without people that take these risks, we have nothing. So
yeah, but to your point, like in terms of education, that's another place that's going to be dramatically disrupted, in my opinion. What we have seen, so I can only speak from my experience. I've got 3 kids. Mm-hmm. They've all been sent home. Their school years have been canceled at this point, right? I'm still paying full freight for their education, and I'm still paying full freight for taxes. If you have kids in public school, you're paying taxes, and you may be getting homeschooled, but most of them are not.
Right.
Those kids that are in some kind of private program or private school or college or university, you're paying full freight for that education, but everyone's at home being homeschooled. I'll ask you this. What percentage of those kids, parents lost their jobs, so they're going to get pulled out of that academic situation? 2, the kids actually don't want to go back to school. They're having a really great educational experience. Their grades are fine. They're going to school for 4 hours, not 8. And they can still play all their sports and stuff mm-hmm. because of clubs and recs, whatever. I think that if educators, presidents of universities, colleges, et cetera, aren't thinking about what their university or college or private school looks like in the next 30 days, boy, they're about to feel some pain, son.
I totally agree with you on that, too. I think it's time that happens, too, because there's so much waste in education, and the government's in bed with them, and they drive up the prices, and the educations have gone downhill. There's no competition. It's time for that to happen. I can't speak on the private school level of, like, high schools and, stuff like that, but as far as the lack of competition at universities today, it's honestly, it's just pathetic, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look at the internet and what we're able to do right now. People flying around for meetings, all that stuff is going to change. Like, I don't even know why I would fly to New York and have a meeting with someone.
Right.
Like, I just don't get it. Like, why would I do that? What would change other than me not shaking your hand, right? Me wearing a mask. I have to go to a meeting on Monday. Like, they're asking me to come, which I don't understand. I have to wear, an N95 mask and be shuttled into a area because it's in a hospital. That's where the meeting is. I have to go to a hospital. They don't even let people in and out of their executive branch. I have to go. It doesn't make any sense. Like,
yeah, you're uncomfortable the whole time. I mean, this is so much easier.
I'll be presenting to them with a mask on.
Yeah, it's weird.
So silly.
Yeah, the world's changing. It really is. I mean, necessity it increases the breadth of innovation. So we're watching it happen right before our eyes. So let's get into Bitcoin now a little bit more. With the halving upon us, I made a little call 8 days ago that I thought we were going to see we could see five figures still. We were around 68.70 when I put that video out. And I'm looking pretty good right now. What do you think about us getting into five figures? It's looking promising, right?
Well, I'm going to stick to my call, which I made probably 3 or 4 months ago, where I think we'll go into the halving around 6,800.
Oh, okay.
So imagine that. We're sitting here and Bitcoin's at 8,600, right?
I need to sell now.
It's ripped, right?
Yeah.
So, what I said and what the genesis of that call was I was on a podcast where I was defending that the halving's priced in. And what I said was there's going to be a sell the news. So you'll have FOMO, you'll have a run up pre-halving.
Mm-hmm.
Then there'll be a sell the news because it always happens.
I don't disagree with that.
It always happens. History doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. So we're going to get a sell the news, and then you're going to get a minor capitulation, which is a more technical call for those who aren't just punting or speculating. What's happening right now is you have incremental hash rate increasing. We saw it drop for a while, but then we see it increasing, which is actually a really good signal and actually counter to what I'm talking about. But this is what's going to happen. Anyone that has inefficient mining including old tech, so S9s or something running along those lines, or high power cost, when you hit 12 days and 12 hours from now, whenever it is, that is a painful event for miners. It's a painful event. And those who are have the best operations, the best technology, the lowest cost, they are going to prosper because the rest of them are going to hit the wall and have to switch off, go bust. They'll burn up all of their Bitcoin stores. So there'll be all this sell pressure, trying to survive, paying out their debts, going bankrupt, whatever. That will happen. And then sometime thereafter the halving, 60, 90 days, after that purge, bang. And I think that what I'm saying is supported by the stock to flow models that Plan B has done and other things that, we've looked at. So I'm saying I wouldn't be surprised if we have all this FOMO right now. You bounced off of 9,000,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have a pullback to somewhere around 6,800. And then we chop a little sideways for about 100 days. Everyone gets bored because
Right.
the halving's a non-event, just like it always is. And then we get the real rip when the supply and demand shocks hit.
I agree with you on pretty much all of that. I don't know what I sort of still I'm going to hang on to my 10K call, but I do think that you're right about I 100% agree that we're going to see a lull after the halving where people could sell and we're floating back around 68 to 8 and then that run.
Where does the sell pressure come from? It comes from the miners.
Right, and that was you actually jumped my next question about capitulation.
Yeah.
What sort of percentage of miners do you think we're going to lose? Like 40%, or what are you thinking?
Well, I think you already had one level of capitulation. I think those that are prudent business folks that saw the writing on the wall needed to get out of their purchase power agreements without defaulting, so they had to switch off their miners. And some of those S9s could be sold for 30 or 40 bucks each. So they actually tried to sell, if you had a big mine, say you had 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 S9s, and you could unload them to someone who had, power cost at 1 to 2 cents and a more efficient technology overseeing them, they may turn those machines on. They may buy them and run them off the cliff. So I think you had one instance of capitulation already. And I think there's another one on the horizon.
Is your energy company, that's what you do the mining with, right? That's part of that?
Well, I have a number of investments in that space personally, and we mine Ethereum.
Okay, I thought
PRTI.
So you're still mining?
We run GPUs there, yes.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't know a ton about mining myself, to be 100% honest with you. That's not something that I'm a pro in or anything like that. So I was curious, just so everyone knows the price of Bitcoin's just for posterity, so we can look back at this in 20 years. And the price is just under 8,700 right now. It's 8,680, I think, or something like that. So we saw a crazy run today.
Yeah, but think about what I'm saying to you. I'm saying it's going to pull down $2,000.
Yeah, so don't FOMO in if you're listening to this tonight or tomorrow, whenever I put this out.
Yeah, I mean, and look, there's a lot of people. I mean, I talked to Pomp this morning, and he was just like, "Oh man, look at the price, look at it's running." And we go through it like, just like kids, man. It's exciting. Like I can't take my eyes off of this stuff.
It is so hard to get anything done when it pumps like this. Every 10 minutes or even less, you're like, "What is the price? What is the price?"
Yep, definitely.
So. Last time you and I spoke, and I've actually sort of tailored my partially tailored my call on how long this thing's going to go. After I spoke with you, I looked at some other things, and I agree with you pretty much 100% on when this thing's going to run till, I think, at least the last time we spoke. So now I wanted to see if you've amended that or not. I believe you told me last time we spoke early 2022. 2022. You think this thing might reverse back? We'll see the end of the bull trend. Is that accurate?
That's probably right. So I'm saying that we're going to see this year we may see a new all-time high. So I'm saying this year we may see a new all-time high by the end of the year, and by the end of 2021, I would be really shocked if we haven't traded in the $50,000 to $100,000 range.
By the end of 2022.
By the end of 2021.
Oh, 2021. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, by 2022, we'll be in that $50,000 to $100,000 range. And when that happens, as I really do think it's a when, not if. When that happens, everything's been validated. Like I can't see how people go, we're speculating at $100,000 of Bitcoin. I mean, I just think that would be foolish.
Right.
I don't see how you can do that. And I know the real OGs probably feel that way right now. At Bitcoin at 8,000, when you bought Bitcoin for $1 or 50 cents or a quarter or a penny, you're like, man, this is exactly how it's supposed to go. And they've already reached that level of conviction.
I remember it under $1. I don't have any of those coins anymore. Those went the way of a failed hard drive, so that hurts a little bit. But it is crazy to see
because you got into Bitcoin in 2009. Right.
Yeah. It is. It feels good to see the space mature, and I'm really in this for the free markets. I believe in free markets, and I think that it's the best solution for society as a whole. So. I think that we're going to see a lot of great things built out of this space over the next decade.
So the technology is important,
right? Yeah, 100%. And that. I also am interested in privacy and other things, but I think that Bitcoin's the king, and that's where I would, I think everyone, and this isn't financial advice, you're the financial guy, but storing wealth in this era, this digital epoch, I think that's the best place to put it is in Bitcoin.
Yeah, and look, and I in my own mind, and this may be inaccurate because I'm thinking a bit out loud, but Bitcoin right now is not a good store of value. It's not a very good money, a unit of exchange, because of the volatility, right? Mm-hmm. So as Bitcoin becomes less volatile, and that price range may be in the $100,000 Bitcoin, at that point it does become a better unit of exchange, and you'll then have projects like the Lightning Network, stuff that Jack Mallers doing with Strike. It just feels like all that comes together at the same time and the right time, and the rest will be history.
Right. Well, it's going to be a lot of fun to look back at all these old conversations. I think it's so cool. We're still so early. I heard you talking the other day about that, how early we still are. And I feel the same way. Even though I've been in it for 10 years or whatever, a little bit over, I still feel like people that are getting in today are getting in at somewhat of the ground level, and they're still going to reap a lot of benefit from that. So,
bro, I saw today someone tweeted, there are 3 million Bitcoin wallets with like 0.1 Bitcoin or more in them.
Yeah.
Like no one. I think that's that. I didn't check it, but I think that's what the tweet said, that there are 3 million Bitcoin wallets with 0.1 more Bitcoin or more in it. That's like no one. There's no one here.
It's true.
We're in an empty room.
I wonder why, like, it would be interesting to know. I mean, you have a lot of wealth. It would be interesting to know somebody like Jeff Bezos, who's just like uber, just ridiculous. How much they own? Because I really have a hard time to believe that he doesn't own any.
I'm not sure he does. Like, you get to this money point where I think his assets are committed in a different way. He's not speculating in an asset class like this. Like, I truly believe, like, Elon Musk doesn't have much Bitcoin.
Really?
He's like a brilliant guy. I just don't think he has a bunch of Bitcoin. I really don't. I actually think Peter Schiff has more Bitcoin than Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk put together.
I actually have a theory that Peter Schiff has some Bitcoin too that he's not letting on.
Peter Schiff is sitting on Bitcoin.
Right, he is. He is.
Like I'm sitting on gold.
Is that your silver or is that gold?
Yeah, silver and gold. I got it all over here.
That's awesome.
I got all kinds of good stuff. Space metals.
Somebody in your position, you need to get Peter. You need to challenge Peter to a public debate and just whip his ass one time.
You know what? I just like to learn from him.
Intellectually. Yeah.
Yeah, because I probably agree with him on most of the stuff, other than like that Bitcoin is like a Ponzi scheme. I don't even know if he said that.
No,
because I just don't believe that at all. I think Bitcoin is super legit.
I'm actually a huge Peter Schiff fan myself. I agree with Peter on like at 95. He's a big Austrian economics guy. I like Peter, but on Bitcoin, he couldn't be more wrong.
All right.
What's your strategy for yourself buying Bitcoin? Because I see you last week. I think I saw you buy 5 or 6, and you posted that. I love seeing that, by the way. What do you DCA, or what's your approach?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. It's literally like, I don't sell Bitcoin. I buy into positions with new fiat, new capital. And that's why I think sometimes people are like, hey man, you just bought yesterday. Like it really is that I'm just buying and dollar cost averaging into positions. And I like I have a big position in a stable coin. So it makes it really easy for me to move from that digital stable coin right into Bitcoin.
So is your play long term then? Do you ever take profits off these moves, or you're in it for the what is it? What's the target? What's your personal target?
No, like this is an investment that I just don't plan on exiting. We were in late 2016. Bitcoin was at like 2,000, 1,700. We're mining Ethereum at like $30, something like that. I'm selling Ethereum. I'm buying Bitcoin. And we watched it run all the way up to 19,000 and draw down 85%. We did not sell. If I did, it was a very small amount.
Mm-hmm.
So we took it on the chin. We went through a full bull bear cycle, and now we're going through the halving. I don't know what the number is for me. I know being a smart investor would reallocate and resize the position and take profit. I'll probably think about that when that time comes.
Okay, fair enough. Concerning Morgan Creek Digital, what sort of response have you gotten? In the last week, like I said, we spoke about 8 months ago. Are more people in the corporate world getting more comfortable with Bitcoin and like pension funds and stuff like that, and taking on that sort of approach?
Yeah, I'd say it's as hard as it ever was to raise capital in this space. There's a long educational lead time on the investment. Those who have already spent the time to learn are more likely to then go through your process of education and potentially invest. But it's still a challenging environment to raise capital. That being said, we set out on our first fund to raise $25 million. We raised $41 million. We've closed that fund. We've invested the capital. We started our second fund, which was a $250 million fund target. We've raised $71 million of that, which I'm very happy about.
Impressive.
And we've deployed north of 50% of that money into a number of projects and a liquid position in Bitcoin.
Okay, so what else? What other projects, like what as far as cryptos go? What other? I know you guys have Bitcoin. Do you guys expose your funds to like XRP and Ethereum or anything? What is it? Just all Bitcoin as far as that goes?
Yeah, so we have a liquid position in Bitcoin, and then we have the Morgan Creek Digital Asset Index Fund with a partnership through Bitwise. And that is a market weighted average of the top 10 cryptos. So that's another vehicle we have. And we have an investment in that as well as some capital at play there. But our funds are specifically focused on Bitcoin and equity positions in infrastructure type investments like BlockFi, like Figure, for example.
So you guys you guys got in with BlockFi from the onset. Am I right? Or
I don't think we were in their initial angel rounds, but we were in pretty early.
Can you tell everyone what BlockFi is that might not know, just a short?
Yeah, so BlockFi was founded by Flory and Zach. They're based in New York. It's essentially a traditional bank, but for crypto assets. So it offers a number of products and services. It offers a custody solution. It offers interest-bearing accounts for stable tokens and a number of crypto tokens. It also offers a lending option, which is really interesting. If you need to raise some capital, but you don't want to sell your crypto, they'll give you a certain amount of cash at about a 50% LTV. It could be lower, could be higher, but they work that out. It's all online, very simple to do. I like their interest-bearing accounts for Bitcoin custody and stable tokens because they pay interest every month, and that interest can be paid in a flexible way. It can be paid in cash, it can be paid in a stable token, it can be paid in Bitcoin. You can roll that forward so that you get the interest and the compounding effect. See, these are all things that I just recommend people learning about because right now, having a dollar bill in your wallet's dead money.
It really is.
Having a dollar bill in a bank is dead money too, in my opinion. What are you making in terms of interest in your checking account?
Well, you're losing 4.5% a year to inflation, right?
All right, there you go.
At least they say that, yeah.
And they may be paying you, 0.75%, 1% on a money market, 1.8% on a CD. I've not seen greater than 1.45%. That's not an investment. That's not an investment. The bank's taking your dollar, lending it out 12 times, charging you fees, if you overdraft, they're going to spank you. You need checks. You're going to pay for it. You need a loan. We're going to hit you with fees. Look, probably need banks. We need digital banks. We need crypto-friendly banks. There's a lot of good things happening. I love the project that Caitlin Long is doing right now. I think the work she's doing is so important. A lot of cool stuff happening.
If we're going to have decentralized banks, let's make them decentralized. And I think that you're talking about compound interest. I think that, what's that quote attributed to Einstein, that compound interest is the most powerful force in the universe. So just keep rolling your money into something else that you think is going to make you more money, right?
Yeah, like I explore altcoins, and I tweeted this morning. Like, altcoins are the gateway drug to Bitcoin. And, and I really feel that
it is sort of true, right?
Right. And it's a little play on something that CK said from POV podcast, which I thought was brilliant. He said, like, in his opinion, because he's a Bitcoin maximalist, altcoins are kind of an entryway into eventually learning about Bitcoin. That's what happened with me. That's what happened with Pomp. We got into crypto mining Ethereum.
That's so cool, though. And you ended up in Bitcoin. I agree with you, though. I think that the competition is good, just like in any other good. The competition of money will bring out the best money. So I'm not a maximalist, but I respect.
And interesting technology. So, like,
I
do buy altcoins doing research. Like, I really am in this for the tech. I
love the tech.
I want to make money. But when I see programs like Thorchain and Rune and BIP2 and the work Binance is doing, I start to migrate there. And then I say, okay, how are you offering 52% interest on Rune? It's hard for me to conceive this. So, you jump down the rabbit hole. Decred, Decred, same stuff. So I understand why you like Chainlink. And it's just, you start to look at the technology, the application, and the different layers to which this thing exists. It's what's beyond the internet. What is beyond the layer one?
Right.
And that's all this other stuff. Bitcoin, but I doubt it. I doubt it's just Bitcoin.
Exactly. The value is coming from, I believe in the end, will be from connecting everything. All of the ones, at least whatever it ends up being, however many blockchains it ends up being, the utility will be, the utility of all those combined is going to be, the value will just be unbelievable. And it'll all seem obvious, in my opinion, in the long run.
Eventually, but it's going to take time, It's going to take time. I think DeFi is super important.
What you mentioned Binance, what do you think about CZ and what he's been able to accomplish? I mean, it's just unbelievable, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's a great entrepreneur. I actually like him very much. I've been fortunate enough to be on some calls with him, and I think Binance is an excellent project. I've recently been using Binance Dex, exploring it. I think it's really very interesting, and I think there are going to be some exchanges that come out of this that are the leaders, and in the pursuit of a laundry list of altcoins, like if you want to go down the rack 2,000 deep, you're going to have to engage Binance Dex.
Right.
You're able to do that at Coinbase or Gemini. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It makes perfect sense. Yeah, he's providing a product and people like it. If somebody wants to come in and compete with them, let them do it, right? Absolutely.
But CZ is he's going to be one of those Bitcoin billionaires, that I spoke about today.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see this generation of Bitcoin millionaires and billionaires. And we may see the first trillionaire come from crypto.
I believe you. I love that tweet you put out today. Yeah, I think you're right about that. That I haven't thought a lot about, but it definitely could happen.
Think about it.
Somebody is going to become a trillionaire out of this space. It's inevitable, really. It really is.
Think about it. The Winklevoss twins have claimed that they bought 1% of the Bitcoin network, right? So they're billionaires at $10,000 a Bitcoin.
They have to have at least 500,000 or something like that. I mean, it's crazy. They have a lot.
Well, they have 1% of what was out there. right? 1% of what was out there. You heard Chamath say something extraordinary like that. At one point he had, percentages of the available. It's like mind-blowing to me. It's mind-blowing to me.
Have you spoken to him a lot, Chamath?
I think he, again, is one of those very special minds out there. I'm fascinated by him. I watched him on Pomp's podcast. I haven't had the chance to invest with him or meet him in person, but I feel the same way about Naval Ravikant.
Uh-huh.
These guys are thinking differently. And I think I know why. Because all of the burdens that you and I have to be faced with all day, paying the bills, going to work, picking up this, doing that, how am I going to make this work? They've stripped that away because they've been so uber successful as young people. So now they get to think, they get to reflect, and they just look at things a little differently than you or I do. And it's allowed their mind to be expansive, and I enjoy it. And we're really fortunate to have access to them through things like Twitter and podcasts, because these dudes could simply just go away, and just work on making money and inventing the next thing. And we wouldn't be enlightened or inspired as I am by these guys.
I watched 2 of his speeches this week, so I feel the same way that you do. He's definitely it's awesome that he puts that stuff out there for people when he takes the time. Just like you, I appreciate your time today. And you're in that AS Roma shirt, and I told you before that Kappa. I love that. Before we got on here today, that's I'm a Barcelona fan and AS Roma. But I heard that I think I saw you tweet out about purchasing Man U. So was that a joke, or is that in the cards for you someday?
No, look, I'm gonna say the Glazer family is doing a better job right now. But if they don't buy Jack Grealish and Sancho coming out of this and put together a team that can actually compete in the English Premier League and not be gunning for 6th place, look, I'm switching. AS Roma. I'm coming back.
There you go. Tati loves it. I'll tag him in this. Back to Bitcoin though. I just had it. I thought that was cool that you talked about that, because I'll probably never be wealthy enough to buy Man U, but maybe a Serie D Barcelona or a Serie D Italia League.
Hey, anything can happen, man. Anything can happen.
So, what do you think Bitcoin? I listened to your podcast the other day. I don't remember the guy's name you're on with, but I actually listened to it this morning. And you were talking about venture investors today. Do you believe Bitcoin, like for the average Joe on the street, that's their best play?
Look, again, always do your own research. I'm only speaking from my own experience, and I've said this before. There's 3 ways that people really get great wealth, right? They inherit it. So, it comes their way, and the next generation kind of maintains it, the next one squanders it, and then they blow it all, right? But you inherit great wealth. Those that are fortunate to do that, I'm no hater. Congratulations. The next thing, and this comes from a quote, I think that Elon Musk's ex-wife said, you have to come up with an idea that's absolutely mind-melting, right? And you have to be the best executor on the planet of that idea. And then to become a billionaire, you have to create idea babies off of that idea. So that whole process of coming up with an idea no one in the world's had, executing it in the most brilliant and surgically precise way, and coming up with idea babies, then you get there too. Finally, guys like you or me can take some amount of money and concentrate the investment in something that explodes. It does something that goes up hundreds of thousands of times. That could be Bitcoin, and this could be our chance to own Manchester United.
I hope you do. I want to remain friends. That way maybe I can get in the box once or something.
Bro, you're there.
Oh, yes.
I'm bringing the whole team.
Oh,
everyone's
man.
Coming.
I'll start saying my prayers to get you in there then.
Yeah.
So what do you think about, we kind of touched on a little bit outside of crypto. You even named some of the things, but what are you keeping your eyes on outside of crypto as far as investing? And then Are you thinking about maybe doing something else in the medical field?
Yeah, I am actually. So, I got to watch healthcare be broken and spanked, put over the government's knee and just decimated, right? You can't scare everyone and stop everyone from going outside and cripple ancillary services and elective procedures. Like no one's going to the dentist, getting their colonoscopies, going to the gyne. Everything's done. The urgent cares are done. So everybody lost 50, 60%, if not 100% of their volume. Revenues at zero. Doctors are being furloughed. Emergency room doctors are being sent home. Everyone's focused on COVID, which is the right thing to do, mind you. But I got to watch healthcare get smashed. So, from my perspective, how do I make a recession and pandemic-proof healthcare system? And that's what I'd like to build coming out of this, a pandemic and recession-proof healthcare system, because healthcare's been pretty recession-proof historically. It just wasn't pandemic-proof.
That would be pretty awesome. I have a feeling you can achieve that. So I'm going to have to keep up to date with you on that one.
Yeah, and then the other thing I'm really interested in is real estate. I think there's going to be huge defaults, right? What I said to you before this is we went from 3% unemployment to 30% unemployment. It's going to resolve somewhere between there. Lots of businesses are not going to turn back on when this is all over. Those businesses, small businesses, are in buildings. Those buildings have mortgages. They may have been supported by the tenant's lease. They're going to default. There are REITs sitting on all kinds of property in opportunity zones, what have you. That's going to all go to shit. And there's going to be an opportunity for those people sitting on cash to buy some cheap real estate and get in that game. I'm interested in that.
Yeah, I am too. I'm glad you brought that up because I've been interested in real estate and taking more of my time outside of crypto to focus on that opportunity. And I've been waiting for something like this to happen, not the pandemic, but some sort of event where we had real estate in 2008, just some sort of pullback where the bubble burst. What do you think about buying up houses for somebody that doesn't have a ton of wealth, like around universities and renting those out? You think stuff like that's a good investment?
Well, look, it's actually a bit risky. And let me use the Airbnb example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people were speculating and they bought one rental property, another rental property. Then they became like mega rental property owners, and pandemic hits.
Right?
Nobody's using Airbnb. They get wrecked. If you do it in such a way that you don't get over your skis, you don't use too much leverage, 50, 60% leverage, you make sure that you have solid pieces of property. I like mixed commercial, multi-tenant, residential, and commercial real estate. If you deploy that thesis in a conservative, systematic, prudent way, using leverage and cash to do it, I think it builds an annuity that has created some of the most wealthy people on the planet, right?
Yeah, that's what I was curious about. Something like you said, like 5 or more doors at least. If you're talking about a house or 10 or 20 offices.
2, right?
Yeah.
Look, multi-tenant residential is just 2.
Okay.
And I like to use the statement by meters. You want multi-metered property. I don't mean like 1 meter with multiple people renting. I mean actually 2 meters, 2 separate meters on a condo, so that you buy that condo and it would be very unlikely that you were at 0 tenants.
Right. That way at least you're not bleeding. I understand.
The worst is 50%. Then you get someone in. So now you're back at 100%, right? You're always kind of focused on that. And I like commercial because you can level up the length and quality of your tenant, right? I own a lot of buildings that have private equity backed urgent cares in them. The likelihood of them not paying their rent is low.
Right.
Also, if they're doing well, they want to keep a long-term lease in place. So most of the time, my leases are structured with 5 or 10-year blocks with 5-year renewal options. So I don't have to worry about what does that look like next year? You do have to do that with rental property sometimes. I'm talking about residential rental.
Mm-hmm.
But mixed commercial, residential, multi-tenant residential, and commercial, I like the space very much.
Dropping dimes. Now I got to get you back on again later this year and talk more about real estate. I just have a couple more questions for you.
Shoot.
What was the what are your personal goals like outside of investing? We talk me and you, but like what are you focused on? It like I know you have a family and stuff like that, but I'm just curious, like what are you interested in and focused on?
Yeah, so look, I want to be a good husband and a good father. Look, it's the most challenging thing and the thing I'm most envious of in other people when I meet them. Like I meet a guy around my age, he's like, yeah, my kid's in college, the other one's a straight A student, the other one's captain of the soccer team, varsity this. I really am authentically moved by that because raising kids is hard. Being married is hard. All this stuff is difficult because we're selfish people and we focus on ourselves all the time. Me, 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 me. And you can't really do that when you have a squad. You got to take care of the squad. The squad needs time. The squad needs your focus and love. So look, that is the hardest, most challenging thing that I focus on and the thing I want to do best. Beyond that, I want to still lift weights, still want to be like that dude at the pool. People are like, yo, that dude's jacked, and I want to play soccer.
Right.
I've climbed a lot of the world's tallest mountains. I'd love to get back to that at some point. I love surfing. So you see all the surfboards in the back.
Yeah, those surfboards are awesome. I love the felt table, the billiards table a lot too.
This is kind of my office that I've been working out of. And, look, and I want to be a good friend to people. I really enjoy my relationship with Mark Yusko and Pomp. I have a tight group of people that, I'm doing investing in and with, and that's just it. It's I'm getting older. I'm 46 years old, and I can't believe that, but I'm not in any way like I feel bad about that. Like I always wanted to be kind of the epitome of health and someone whose mind was sharp. I want to do that stuff, man.
Yeah, you're definitely not slowing down, man. I can tell you that right now. I'm not there every day, but I just know you. I can just tell. I appreciate you coming on here, as I've told you. I just have one last question, man. I know you're busy. I won't keep you. What does Bitcoin mean to you? I've asked everybody this, except I think I forgot one guest at this new podcast. I'm just curious, like we've talked about it a lot, but what does it really mean to you?
Man, Bitcoin has become like a symbol of freedom to me, and I don't want to go some crazy place, but I really feel that way. Like right now, my businesses are begging for PPP. Like good people are just dying right now. They can't get the resources they need, and they can't even do the things that they want to do. They're fighters. They can't do it. They're locked down, right? You can't even go into a bank and yell at someone. There's just no options, Bitcoin has become like this symbol of freedom and power, personal empowerment. It's incredible. And, I'm inspired that we're participating as early as we are. Again, I really feel like we're in an empty coliseum when it comes to Bitcoin, completely empty. We're the OGs.
We are. It's so cool to know somebody like yourself that's interested in it, because there aren't that many people, that have been so successful outside of the earliest of the early adopters that made a ton of money. So I really value what you're doing, and I hope you continue it. And I hope that, you and I can have more of these talks over the years. Just keep them going.
Man, listen to me. And I say this to anyone that's listening to this. I want us to win together. Absolutely. I mean, I don't want to win. I don't want to win Jason Williams, Morgan Creek Digital, Anthony Pompliano, Mark Yusko. That's not what I'm after. I want everyone to win. That's what that would be incredible, man. A whole generation of billionaires, trillionaires, millionaires. Wow.
This is the freest market in the world. I really believe that we're going to create the most value moving forward, and this is our torch. This is our way to do it. So, Jason A. Williams, everybody, thank you for coming on today and dropping all that knowledge. I really appreciate you, man.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
I'll say a proper goodbye. Hold on one second.